Hey, so in today's video I want to show you how to build a highly profitable and sustainable cash-based physiotherapy clinic using the 𝗕𝗂𝗶𝗴𝗵𝗹𝗆 formula. And as always, don't forget to subscribe below. You'll get exclusive first access to weekly content helping you build that go-to physio reputation to ultimately then go on to build a go-to clinic which has a team of go-to therapists that can help people who fail traditional approaches. Now, if you don't know me, my name is 𝗕𝗂𝗶𝗵𝗆. I've been able to build a private practice over the last 13 years alongside working in professional sport. I'm very fortunate to have a great team of therapists where the clinic continues to grow while I'm able to take 6 to 8 weeks away working with professional organisations such as being in Japan with England Rugby Union for the World Cup in 2019 and being in Australia for 8 weeks in 2017. So very, very fortunate to be able to grow a clinic alongside working in professional sport. And this is what my organisational chart looks like. So I've got 2 businesses, the clinic and the academy. And you could see I do not sit on any of the leadership teams on either of my businesses. I am a coach, a mentorship coach, and I am a therapist. So in my clinic I literally just treat and the business runs without me, and I also sit as the CEO. And I've built both of these businesses up on this law of value, okay? And if you want to have a highly profitable and sustainable clinic, you have to abide by the law of value, and your true worth is determined by how much more you give in value than you take in payment. So especially if you're cash-based clinics, you have to be given more in value than you're taking in payment in order to grow. And as we've covered in previous videos with the Net Promoter Score, we're going to track that using the Net Promoter Score, where we can actually have an objective marker to see if our patients are actually happy and if they're raving fans or if they're just pacifiers or if they're at risk of actually detracting from our business. So how do we do it? Well, the 𝗕𝗂𝗶𝗵𝗆 formula, you can see the 𝗕𝗂𝗶𝗵𝗆 formula is based upon a foundation of the go-to therapist, where we have a repeatable system for getting repeatable results. Our therapists have confidence and clarity, which is non-negotiable, okay, to build confidence in the patient, to get buy-in adherence, to ultimately get long-lasting results, to having raving fans, referrals, reviews, retention, and ultimately increasing the revenue ethically. So step 1, it all starts with the clinical systems. So every patient, we want to give more value than we take in payment. We want to get results, we want to get reviews, we want to get referrals, we want to get retention of these patients in the future, and ultimately we want to increase our revenue ethically. So that all starts with having a system in place to get repeatable results. So it doesn't matter who the therapist is that the patient sees, that they're going to get a really great experience, and we're going to measure that objectively using the Net Promoter Score. And to show you how important this is, the numbers don't lie, where you can see in August here we had 84 new patients, 466 went through the door, okay, but the actual patient visit average, so total appointments divided by new appointments, was 6. The following month in September we had 78 patients, so again we had 6 patients less, 6 new patients less I should say, but look how many we had, 4, so that's 70 with 34 plus 50, that's 85, 86 more visits in September. So the PVA was a 7. Okay, so this just goes to show that it's not all about new patients. Okay, and there's 3 ways to grow your business basically. Okay, and that is, you can increase the number of customers, you can increase the average order value, or you can increase the number of times people buy from you. Okay, so the revenue was very, very different in August versus September, and that's because we abide by these ways, and we understand this, that you can spend all the time you want getting new customers, but unless you're ethically increasing the average order value and increasing the number of times people buy from you or come back for you, so that I'd include the number of times people buy from you, I would include that as retention. Okay, so they come back with a new issue, increase the average order value, I would increase that, consider that to be how many sessions they ethically have without dropping off, okay, to get the results. So you can see it's not all about new patients, okay, it's ultimately about the ability to keep patients on track, to get the results, to get the reviews, to get the referrals, okay. That is the most easiest way. And in the value chain, you could see the initial assessments that don't rebook, the DNAs, the cancel did not rebook, those numbers are ultimately going to give you control of this business and allow you to keep control of the business even when you're not there. Okay, and you could see we needed the business systems in place, and I wouldn't have spotted those problems without step 2 of the go-to clinic formula. So again, we needed these business systems in place to spot the issues within our clinic. We were able to put some training in very, very quickly. What we found was that there was actually, because of the lockdown, there was a lot of people waiting to be seen with acute issues. Okay, they weren't used, our typical patient that comes in, they weren't educated on how we work and how we operate. So there was a massive mismatch in patient expectations. So what was happening is the patient was expecting something completely different to what they were getting. We put in one simple question into the business, we got them back like this, and then the ultimate result was we were able to get back, and we were able to get back on that path of growing the business ethically, and most importantly, we were able to get back on the track of the low value. We were able to give more value than we were taking in payment. Okay, so and again, we saw it in the numbers. The numbers do not lie. Okay, so as I said, we needed step 2, and step 2 is implementing the business systems to allow a smooth running of the business, a great team culture, and a consistently great customer experience. So if you're not delivering a consistently great customer experience, then I would respectfully say you're not going to be able to grow. It's so important. So you want to be always building the business for long-term sustainable growth with the end in mind. Okay, so for me, I always built both my businesses with the end in mind. I marketing and sales and all that stuff, it's nice, but I am a therapist. Okay, that is my zone of genius, as they say. Okay, I needed to develop business skills, and that's where in my org chart now, okay, I just want to run the business as a CEO, where I'll have a meeting with my practice manager, my leadership team once a week, okay, and check-ins. I'll get email check-ins, but I just want to be treating, or I want to be coaching and teaching therapists. That's what I love doing. Okay, I take a small seat in the marketing because I need to create content. Okay, but ultimately, this is what I love doing. I'm a therapist and I love teaching. Okay, they're the two things I love doing, and I also have to sit as a business owner. Okay, and I have a leadership team then ultimately that runs both businesses for me. Okay, and that's so important to understand that when you are setting up your business, you want to always start with the end in mind. Okay, and I've started. Of course, I had to sit on all those leadership teams initially, but I set the business up using this formula in order to be able to eliminate myself from both businesses. Okay, and that all starts with mission, vision, strategy, and leadership. So just like a treatment plan, you need to know where you're going. Okay, and the destination in the go-to clinic formula, okay, which is why this is the mission, vision, strategy, and leadership. Unless you understand where you want to get to, this is just focus. Okay, so unless it's like a treatment plan, unless you understand what the patient wants to get back to in professional sport, what we have to prepare them to get back to, we don't know where to start. Okay, we don't know if we're heading in the right direction. Okay, we track their key performance indicators all the way through. We get objective data to see that they're on the right track. You need to do the same in your business. So it all starts with the destination. That's just going to allow you to have focus. Okay, so again, we have a document in our Momentum Coaching Program, Vivid Vision, and again, it's vivid because we get so clear on the destination. And when you get so clear on the destination, all you're doing is you're tricking your mind into staying focused. Okay, and if you're achieving your mission, okay, and you're achieving working towards your vision, then that is money with meaning. Okay, so again, our mission, I've got it written up here. I empower people to restore control of their body and mind so they can truly live. Okay, vision, helping 1,500 therapists in 50 countries all over the world, help millions of people in pain, and helping over 500 therapists grow their business to maximize our impact on the world. Okay, they're my mission and vision. If I'm working towards the two of those, then that is money with meaning. Okay, and the thing you need to understand about clinic growth, okay, is clinic growth isn't some magic funnel on Facebook that's going to promise to double your business in 90 days. It's a process, because if you get a load more lead generation, you get more leads coming in, you're going to have a problem with sales, because then you're going to have to rig all of these leads. Okay, and if you don't have a system in place for that, you're wasting money. And that happened to me. Got loads of PDF opt-ins. didn't have a sales system in place, okay, or a system that we could actually ring them effectively and track that we're actually working, okay, and the whole thing comes tumbling down. So if you want to set yourself up for long-term success, clinic growth is a process. It is not a magic trick, and that's very, very important to understand. Facebook ads and funnels and all of this stuff, it's going to come and go, okay, but you have to set yourself up for long-term growth. And long-term growth, the fundamentals aren't going to change in business. The vehicles and some of that stuff will change from time to time, but that's where, you know, it's all going to go back to some sound principles, okay. And the most important thing for your team is that people want to be part of something. So that's the power of having a vivid vision, is that you're able to attract staff, and staff want to be part of something moving forward, okay. And that's how you're going to create that great culture. Your staff know where you're going, they understand the destination, and they want to be part of that journey, okay. So it'll allow you to attract and keep staff, okay, and ultimately all we want to have is 18 players, okay. So these are our core values that our team have come together, okay. These are the best of the best behaviors, okay, that we have, and this is what an 18 player looks like, okay. So again, you might talk about 18 players, and I had coaches who talked about 18 players for years, okay, and I'd mention 18 players when I'd go back from my business meetings, but then I realised that I've never actually defined to my staff what an 18 player looks like. So in this document, when someone comes into my staff, and also, and in fact we had a different performance recently, I got every single one of my team members to read that 18 player document and email me back and say, I want to be very, very clear, you know what is expected of you if you want to work in this business, okay. And they're able to read that, refresh, and it's a very, very powerful document. And that's the key thing, is that we want to create these systems, and we want to create all of these fancy looking things. We want to use them. We don't want to just create them a bit like a pre-season screening program. You create all these documents and they go into the cupboard. You want to use these. These are live living documents that you're going to leverage, okay. And this is all fits into my role as a CEO, is these documents, I'm leveraging, I'm using these as a CEO, okay, to get the best out of my team, because you're going to need leadership skills if you want to have a business with a lot of staff, okay. So again, it's not just a case of, oh, it looks nice and shiny, that's it. No, it's going to be part of this process, and we're going to leverage this all the time. Which brings us on to the next thing, is we need key systems, and these 8-player documents are core values. You're going to hire and you're going to fire by that to keep the team culture, okay. So again, these systems that we need to have in place is we need a repeatable system to find A players. We need a repeatable system to onboard A players, okay, to make sure they hit the ground running, and we need a repeatable system to grow our staff into leaders, okay. So again, for me, this didn't happen overnight, okay. So again, I had to nurture my staff to get them to a position where I trust them to run the business without me, okay. So at the start, you're going to be in the leadership team, you're probably going to be in the clinic, you're going to be doing all of these roles, and I've done all of these roles at one point, and then you slowly start to remove yourself. But again, you need the systems in place in order to be able to remove yourself, okay. So you need a system for finding staff repeatably, on board and growing. Now the good news is you cry once, you get it done, and you put it into a system and a standard operating procedure, and then you have a repeatable way of getting the results, okay. And again, we hire and we fire on our team core values. Then you want to position yourself, okay. Before you even worry about marketing or sales, you want to be worrying about your positioning, okay. So your positioning is how you want to be seen by your ideal target audience, or your ideal customer, or avatar. Other people say that there's all different words for it in the marketing world, but positioning is how you want to be shown up and seen by your actual ideal customer, okay. And what are you going to be world class at? What are you not going to be world class at? Okay, so you want to create a blue ocean for your business, where when your ideal target audience, your ideal customer, looks at your website versus your competitors, they could see, yeah, that's what I value, and you are the obvious choice. Okay, that's how you want to position yourself, that there's not even a decision to be made, okay. So what are you going to be world class at? What are you not going to be world class at? Okay, so when I decided to teach business skills to my therapists, I decided that I wasn't going to be like any other business program, where it was a case of, here's all these stuff, these funnels and these templates and stuff like that. I made that mistake, okay. But in our coaching program, it's one-to-one, because what I really quickly realized, and I'm still realizing that with the therapist I coach today, accountability is key. Okay, accountability is one of the most important things that you can get from coaching, and the ability to look at it as a business without having the emotional attachment to it, that is absolutely priceless. And you know, my coaches are absolutely outstanding at that, and they're able to show me without emotion. And again, I've got a couple of coaches, okay, for different bits, and I think every growing business needs support. Okay, so again, when we designed this business coaching program to help therapists then become the go-to clinic owner, after helping them become the go-to therapist, we decided that we're going to do things very, very differently. Okay, and again, this isn't for everybody, okay, but our ideal target audience, they value this. Okay, and again, you need to know what systems you need in place in order to deliver a world-class service. So how you want to be positioned. Okay, McDonald's and a gourmet burger restaurant, they are positioned very, very differently. Okay, now both are profitable. Okay, so again, are you going to be the cheapest? Are you going to be the most expensive? How do you want to be positioned? Okay, and again, I'm not saying it's wrong to be the cheapest, but what I am saying is you're going to need very, very different systems in place to the gourmet burger experience. If you want a Michelin star restaurant, you're going to need different systems to if you want to go into McDonald's. Okay, your expectations are going to be very, very different. So you need to have the systems in order to do that. Okay, so again, it's not that one is right or wrong. You just need to understand this is how I'm positioned to my ideal customer, and then you can start to get into actually this is the systems that I need in order to deliver that. Because if you don't decide the positioning before the systems, and you have systems and then you're trying to position yourself as something completely different, then you are going to you're going to look very, very foolish. It's not going to work. Your marketing and your sales, it's not going to work. So it's a bit like going to the world's best brain surgeon, and he's the cheapest. He or she, they're the cheapest doctor out there. You know, they've got a specialist one for half price on brain surgery. Okay, so again, you know, that's not positioning them as a trusted authority. Okay, so again, when you go to that person, they'll have systems in place to make sure that they are delivering that experience. Okay, and again, with us, it all needs to be, you want to take the decision making out of it. Okay, then you need the fulfillment systems. Okay, so business systems are operational, that the business runs, okay, without you, and again, you still have control of the business without being controlling. Okay, very, very important. Then you need the fulfillment systems. So again, someone will sit as head of fulfillment on your leadership team. Okay, and again, that is all about understanding the value chain, understanding the numbers, okay, because at all costs we want to protect that net promoter score, because that's the only reliable objective marker we really have that we're going to be able to grow. Because unless these people are giving you 9s and 10s on your net promoter score surveys, then you know they're not turning into raving fans. And if they're not turning into raving fans, there's no referrals, there's no reviews. It's going to make your marketing a lot harder, and ultimately if they're detractors, they're probably going to badmouth your business. Okay, so get all of that right, fix the leaks in the bucket like I did. Okay, and then you can look at your sales systems in place. Okay, and from my experience with sales, there's a big mind shift block with people in general. Okay, so I've learned this the hard way, where I've come back from business events and I've handed my staff scripts and said, oh, say that, and then what happens, they get on the phone, they turn into a robot. Okay, so again, you have to understand that you're dealing with a person, and this is where your CEO leadership skills come in. You cannot throw a sales script to a person, okay, because all that's going to do is it's just going to be met with resistance. You need to understand where the person is at, okay, and we need to work with them to develop their confidence with this stuff. Okay, so again, this is very, very interesting, and I've learned this the hard way. Give them a script. You know, they could be the best people person in the world. Give a script to turn into a robot. Okay, and that could be damaging for your business if you sound salesy. Okay, so again, it's something I've learned the hard way, and it's about knowing your numbers, but also it's about working with your people. And then when you get all of that in place, and your staff don't sound like robots, and you've got the fulfillment systems in place and the business systems in place to get a consistently great customer experience, okay, then you can really start to speak clearly to your target audience. But unless you have your positioning right, you're going to be speaking in a very, very muddled way to your ideal target audience. Okay, so it's so important to get that right. Then we want to maximize our organic growth channels before moving to paid growth channels. Okay, and again, referrals, increase the lifetime value, all of that stuff will be in the growth channels. Okay, and then you've earned the right to move to step 3, which is keeping the main thing, because ultimately once you get this formula in place, what's going to happen is you're going to get momentum. Okay, and momentum, as John Maxwell says, it's a leader's best friend. It's the only difference between winning and losing, because once you get that momentum, then all you need to do is you just need to keep doing what you're doing. Okay, and that could be hard as a business coach, okay, or it can be not a business coach, a business leader, okay, in the clinic, or it could be very, very hard, because you just get distracted by the next shiny thing. Okay, momentum really is the most important aspect of deliberate creation that you could consciously contemplate, because what momentum says is once you get going in that direction, it is more likely that you will continue to go in that direction. And that's where, once you have these systems in place and you keep doing what you're doing, okay, and you keep on top of the fulfillment and the business systems, okay, you stay positioned and true to your word, okay, and you keep the great staff and you keep working towards your vision, you're going to continue to go in that direction. And again, we'll do that we'll keep control of the business through the numbers, because the numbers don't lie ultimately. Okay, and ultimately it's about having a team, so that when you play in business, you are essentially going out to play a team of 11 against 11. Okay, or if it's your leadership team, the game of business, building a go-to clinic, that is a 5-person leadership team really. Okay, so again, you've got your marketing, your sales, your fulfillment, your operations, and your CEO essentially. Okay, and again, a lot of staff people have the team members, they're sitting on the side, and all of their staff are sitting on the side, and they're trying to do all the roles, or they spend all of their time in marketing, which is attacking, and they're just leaking goals, which is, again, that's the value chain system, and there's patients dropping off, cancelling, yet they're spending all their time on the marketing. So it's the ability to delay gratification, spend the right amount of time each week in the right position if you're started off as a solo practitioner, but ultimately it's about you being the manager on the sideline or the coach, and your staff are the team. Okay, and that's, again, building with the end in mind. Okay, so again, you can see here, we want to get everybody knowing their roles. We want to have defenders, okay, which might be a financial controller. We want to have our midfielder, which is our operations, okay, our defender, which is our head of fulfillment, and then our attackers can be our marketing and our sales. Attacking midfielder would be your sales, attacker would be your marketing. Okay, and as I said, this is clinic growth. It's a process, it's not a magic trick. Okay, and how to build a profitable clinic ethically while finally getting work balance the easiest way. Okay, you have to have that. So you can see now that unless you have the fulfillment systems, and unless you have that clinical system of consistency, that you're going to find it very, very hard to grow, because it's all about the net promoter score. If you're not giving people great experience with the low value, your NPS score is not going to be above 70, which is world class. That's a real good indicator that you're able to grow. And this is what I've done in the past. Okay, is I always started with marketing. Okay, marketing without any systems in place, it's like filling a bucket full of holes. So you need the full approach. It leads to stress, overwhelm, back balance leaking, because as I found out, done all the PDF lead stuff, and again, you're just giving people or you're giving Facebook or Google Ads money, but the people are downloading the PDF, but there's no system in place, there's no organization to actually to help them make the right choice. Okay, so what happens then is you get stressed, you get back in the clinic to treat even more patients while your staff do less work. Okay, because people aren't happy with the service of some of your clinic therapists, so you end up seeing them to make amends, so you're putting out fires constantly. Okay, and then you ultimately spend less time at home with your family and your loved ones. And the difference between winners and losers is that winners do things that losers don't want to do. Okay, and winners earn the right to grow. Okay, losers want a quick fix. They don't want to delay gratification. Okay, they want that instant gratification. They'll spend an hour on Facebook just to get 1 or 2 likes. Okay, yeah, you get gratification. Oh, I got a few likes, or I got 1 new patient. Okay, but what happens next week and the week after okay, when you're just so busy or life gets in the way that you don't have that time to put into Facebook. So that's where you need to delay gratification. You need to build out the systems so this thing runs like a machine, with or without you. Okay, so I hope this is making sense. If it's making sense, pop a yes in the comments, followed by your biggest takeaway so far that you're going to implement. I like doing this to help you get clarity. Do with all my therapists that I coach. You need to get clarity so that you can implement. Okay, and as I said, there's 3 ways to grow a business. You can increase the number of customers, increase the average order value, or increase the number of times that ultimately people buy from you. And this is what happens mostly in the business. Okay, so again, this is where your revenue is leaking. Okay, and this is what's stopping you from growing. Okay, you very often think it's a marketing problem. Pretty much every single business. Okay, the 3 ways to grow the business. Okay, it's usually number 2 and number 3, and it happens here usually around the 3 to 4 patient progress slump. Okay, where patients come in excited at possibilities. Your marketing has done a great job. They're excited by your marketing, and they come in and reality hits. Okay, they have to do a bit of work. There's no clear plan. The therapist is talking about getting their glutes strong and their core strong, and this person just wants to go back and be able to walk the dog and go on a hike or something like that. There's no specific plan in place, and ultimately they drop off, and you end up always looking at number 1, trying to get new customers, whereas you don't have the business systems and fulfillment systems in place to ultimately have earned the right to focus on that. So that's where you have to focus on number 2 and 3 first and foremost. Okay, so here at the Go-To Physio, we spend 80% of our time working on what's not doing its job. We spend 20% of our time working on the symptoms. That helps people feel good. They can feel the difference. We set expectations in the initial assessment. Okay, so we get this this graph right. Okay, so that when the patient comes in, we want to go from here to here. Okay, and again, they know what's going to happen in sessions 3 or 4. We know the objections we're going to run into. We overcome those objections in the initial assessment. We get very clear on where the patient wants to get back to and what levels of loading they need to get back to. And we understand, and we use this concept of 6 to 10 hours a day versus 6 to 10 reps. We understand that we cannot rely on motivation to get the patient the results. Okay, we cannot rely on the motivation of the patient to do their exercises. Okay, so this is where we get very clear on what their life looks like, and we build our rehab programs around that, because we know exercise compliance from the literature isn't very common. Okay, and the reasons that people are dropping off or not doing their exercises, one of those reasons is that they just can't fit it into their daily routine. Okay, so let's work smarter, not harder, and let's build a step-by-step system ultimately that keeps patients on track ethically and gets them to that ideal destination. Okay, and again, even when they're pain-free, there's a big difference between somebody being pain-free and somebody feeling confident. And I see this all the time in sport, where somebody can be pain-free, they're okay on my objective tests, but they're not confident to go back training. And when they go back training, it's usually a car crash. Okay, we want to get the person feeling good, and as 𝗨𝗓𝗓𝗓 says, moving with thoughtless, fearless movement. And if someone can feel good and feel a difference, okay, that is going to give them a lot more value. Okay, so again, what we want to do is we want to bridge that gap so they have confidence. This is where we build resilience and confidence. This is where they feel good. If they feel good, that's going to give us a great shot of creating a wow factor to get the results and turn them into raving fans, get referrals, reviews, retention in the future, and obviously you've ethically increased your revenue by actually giving them a lot more value than you've taken in payment. Okay, and for the sake of that one or two sessions, that's where you build that resilience so that you send them back confident. And as I said, there's a lot of people out there, they come in and they expect to get pain-free. Okay, that's what they expect. So, if you're just looking folks that are getting them pain-free without actually getting them confidently moving, okay, then you're never going to be able to create a raving fan, because people are paying you and they're expecting you to do that. Okay, that's your job, is to help me out of pain. But what we wanted to do with them is we want to build the confidence to do things that they never thought to be able to do again, or make them feel good when they're doing those things. Okay, and we do that through the step-by-step system of actually doing that. In order to do that, our therapists, they need the 8 pillars. They cannot be just relying on the hands-on techniques. They need to be able to get really clear on the person's internal motivators and the subjective assessment, where they want to get back to, make sense of the objective assessment, clearly explain the problem, solution and plan to the patient, especially in the initial assessment, design treatment plans that don't just get rid of the pain but actually make them feel good, okay, give them even more value than they were expecting. Hands-on treatment as part of the treatment plan without relying too much on it. We want to be able to progress or regress consistently to keep patients on track. We want to bridge that gap from the low level to the high level rehab, and we also want to build resilience and robustness. So if you're interested in building a go-to clinic with the end in mind, where you can have a consistently repeatable great customer experience regardless of who goes through, then head over to 𝗕𝗂𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃.com/clinic and you can get your free PDF where I go through each of the stages of how to create a great team culture, to put in the business systems, to put in the fulfillment systems, to earn the right then to look at the marketing and sales. Okay, so hope you enjoyed this video. If you want more content like this, post your biggest takeaways in the comments, and any questions I'll be sure to answer them, and I'll see you next time.